The Honda CR-V is one of the most popular SUVs on the market. Since it came out in 1995, it's gone on to sell over 5 billion examples. I made that number up, but you get the point. It's very popular and it's showing no signs of slowing down. In fact, Honda have made a new one, which they say is even better than ever. They would say that, wouldn't they? I'll be the judge of that.
This is the 6th generation CR-V. It promises to have the best looks, the best equipment, the best comfort, the best technology, and the best efficiency, not just of every CR-V that came before it, but it should also give its numerous SUV rivals a pretty good run for their money as well.
But on the subject of money, that is probably one of this car's biggest problems because it is quite pricey. Okay, it comes in 2 versions. One is an EHEV hybrid, that's this one, which costs £45,000. And then there's a PHEV, a plug-in hybrid, which costs £54,000. And that is a lot of cash, especially when you consider its rivals like the VW Tiguan, Ford Kuga, and Hyundai Tucson are all far cheaper. Still, at least the Tesla Model Y is a lot more expensive. I made that up. This is more expensive than a full battery electric SUV from Tesla. Ouch. But if you can't afford 45 grand on a brand new Honda CR-V, maybe we can help you out. Auto Trader not only help you buy and sell cars, we can also help you lease them. Go on the website, fire up the leasing page, and choose a car that you like, maybe a Honda CR-V. All you got to do is pick the initial payment, your lease term, whether you want maintenance or not, and then we'll deliver the car for you for an affordable monthly fee. Check the link down below.
Right, can Honda justify the CR-V's asking price in terms of looks? Well, it is very stylish. The front has a large grille with the Honda logo sat proudly in the middle, with split headlights that give it a determined, modern appearance. A so-called aero pack is available, which sees the front bumper, side skirts and door mirrors finished in an optional silver color. And on the subject of color, your choices are fairly limited. Black comes as standard, or you can choose to pay more for white, red, pearl or blue. Your wheel choices are 18 inches, 18 inches, or if you're feeling like a baller, 18 inches.
It's quite a handsome car at the back as well. I think if you bought this and you showed up in a supermarket car park, you'd be quite pleased with your purchase, wouldn't you? Apart from one small thing, I think, and that is the exhausts. They look quite good from a distance, but they can get close, and that one's real. This one, completely fake, which I don't really understand, really. It's a bit like buying a pair of shoes and only one of the shoes is real. The other one is a sock that's been designed to look like a shoe. It does my head in when manufacturers do this. Anyway, the boot, actually quite large. So the plug-in hybrid is bigger than the normal hybrid. It's 635 litres versus around 580 litres for this EHEV version, but the space is actually very useful. You've got a flat load area just here, so it's easy to load large, heavy objects and slide them in, no problem whatsoever. I also quite like the fact it's got this rubberized mat as well. So if you've got muddy boots, for example, you can put them in, spill as much liquid as you want, and that's no issue. You can actually just get it out, do that, clean it up, and the actual boot floor is nice and pristine. One slight issue though is that you can't actually lower the back seats from the boot area. You've actually got to wander around to the side of the car, open the door, pull a lever, drop the seat eventually, close the door, wander around to the other side, open that door, drop the seat, wander back to the boot area, and then load your long objects, which is a lot more faff than it needs to be. Honda, yeah, sort that out, please. The back of the CR-V is very, very spacious. Honda say they've given us 16 millimeters more legroom, and I definitely believe them because that is a load of legroom. That front seat's adjusted for me, and yeah, I can really stretch out in here. I've also got loads of space underneath the front seat for my feet, which is quite nice. I've also got the ability to recline as well, quite a long way. Now, for some reason, if you want to sit like this, you can, but you can also go backwards by quite a long way. That's really nice. And also the back has got heated seats, so you push that button there and you can warm up your bum as long as you're in the outside two seats. The middle seat doesn't get that function. And speaking of the middle seat, you also get this really weird seat belt which comes down from the ceiling. It's not the best design because it can kind of cut across your neck, which is not the most comfortable thing in the world. So yeah, wish they'd done a little bit better in that. But you do get this armrest down here with a couple of cup holders, and the car also comes with 2 USB ports and a nice big panoramic glass roof. So on the whole, yeah, not too bad. The front of the CR-V is very, very positive on the whole. It reminds me a lot of the Civic in that it's got this very upright design to the dashboard with these honeycomb structures in the dash and these little joysticks which adjust the direction of travel for your airflow. I've also got to give big credit to Honda for the fact that they are one of the few manufacturers on the market that still use physical controls for the heating, ventilation and climate controls. That is a massive plus. It's so easy to use when you're driving. You don't have to think twice about it. It's just brilliant. Thank you, Honda, for that. In terms of practicality, yep, not too bad. Nice big amount of storage space in the center console, a little bit of storage for your phone. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. 2 big cup holders. The glove box isn't the biggest and neither are the door pockets, but in terms of practicality, it's not too bad. Let's get on to technology now though, because that again is a bit of a mixed bag. You got a 10.2-inch driver display, which shows you quite a lot of information, although not in a very spectacular way. The graphics are quite basic and the resolution isn't the highest. The same goes for your infotainment screen, which again is not the highest resolution. The graphics aren't the best looking in the world, and it's not the most responsive either. But yeah, again, it does get the job done. Plus, it does have wireless Apple CarPlay, although not wireless Android Auto. So make of that what you will. Now back to this. So down here, you've got a wireless charging pad for your mobile phone, but it is one of the worst I have encountered. And that's because when you're driving around, your phone just flies all over the place and never actually gets charged. So that could do with quite a lot of improvement, if you ask me. Guys, sorry to interrupt, but I've got a really important message. Every single month, Auto Trader give away a brand new electric car for free, and this month's prize is this, the Omoda E5. It's worth £33,000. It's got a 61 kilowatt-hour battery pack. It's got a 273-mile range, and more importantly, it's free to one of you guys. That's right. Hit the link down below, enter, and you could win that for nothing. Right, Rory, back to you. Pop quiz. Do you know what CR-V stands for? Well, apparently in Japan, it stands for Comfortable Runabout Vehicle. I mean, it kind of does what it says on the tin, but not very aspirational, is it? I want a car that sounds a lot cooler than that. Something like, you know, Defender or Bronco or even Wrangler. No kid ever says to their mum and dad, "Mum, do you know what I want to drive when I grow up? I want to drive a comfortable runabout vehicle." No. Still, it is accurate. It does what it says. It is very, very comfortable. The first thing you notice in a CR-V is probably the seats, which are extremely plush. Not to the point of you being able to move around in them too much, not being held in place, because they are quite supportive, but just the softness of the seats is fantastic. You can sit in this thing for hours on end and not feel fatigued at all. They've done a really good job there. The suspension in this car is really good as well. It soaks up most of the imperfections you get on the average British B road. It's soft, it's plush. Yeah, it's just a lovely car to sit in and drive. What's probably less good is the NVH, the noise, vibration and harshness. There's actually quite a lot of road noise coming through, a little bit of wind noise when you go in at higher speeds, but it's by no means a deal breaker. Visibility in this car is also really, really good. I've got a nice view out of the bonnet in front of me, outside of the windows on either side, and even round the back as well. Plus, there's a very, very cool gadget. If I push this button on my left-hand stalk, you get a little camera view showing you down the left-hand side of the car, showing you your blind spot, which is really, really useful. You can't, unfortunately, get a view down your right-hand side, which is a bit of a shame because there's more than one blind spot in the car, but that's actually not too bad a feature. There's another button on the right-hand stalk which you can press to activate a slightly different camera view, giving you a bird's eye view of the car, but those only activate when you're doing somewhere around 15 miles an hour or below, which is a bit of a shame really. On the subject of visibility, Honda have done something really clever. So up here, you've got a little sunglasses holder in the ceiling, but built into it is a tiny mirror that gives you a nice clear view of what's happening in the rear seats. So if you've got some naughty children sitting in the back and you want to keep an eye on them, that is a very cool way of doing exactly that. Nice touch. As I said earlier, Honda have gotten rid of the petrol and diesel versions of the CR-V, and instead they'll offer you a choice of two hybrids. One, a normal hybrid, and the other, a plug-in hybrid. The plug-in hybrid has a pretty decent sized battery, 17 kilowatt hours, and that's enough to run about comfortably for up to 50 miles at a time in EV mode. And after that, you get a 2-litre Atkinson cycle engine that kicks in to take over when the battery goes flat.
The eHEV, the standard hybrid, uses the same engine alongside 2 electric motors. That engine can drive the wheels via a fixed ratio equivalent to around 5th gear, but only at higher speeds. At lower speeds, it's the 2 electric motors that are doing the work. The first motor is acting as a generator, taking power from the engine and sending it to a second electric motor that drives the wheels. Or it can send electricity to a tiny 1 kilowatt hour battery pack for later use.
It sounds very complicated. I mean, essentially they're using a motor to run a motor to run a motor, and you might think in your head that surely there must be a simpler way of doing things, but that's the route they've taken, and it does work. It does mess with your head though, because at certain speeds, when you accelerate, the car's driving on EV power alone, sometimes the ICE engine will fire up and you'll hear it in the background, but it's not actually driving the wheels. It's just kind of there in the background like some sort of hairdryer while the electric motors get on with driving you around. It's only when you floor it and you start to feel a little bit of extra torque where you can sometimes sort of tell that the engine is helping out, but it is a weird system. Still, it does work though. 0 to 62 is done and dusted in 9.4 seconds. Top speed 116 miles an hour, so it's quick enough. Even though this isn't a car built for performance, it's more built for efficiency.
Speaking of efficiency, you can expect around 43 miles per gallon in this car driving on a mixture of roads. Not a bad number, but a lot less than the Honda Civic's 60 to 70 miles per gallon.
Is it fun? Well, not exactly. I would say it feels very much like a tank, really. And that's not a bad thing. It just means that it feels nice and stable. It's just not the most agile when it comes to going around corners. So, got a quick one here. Let's chuck it in. And what you find is quite a lot of body roll, and actually not a very reassuring amount of grip on a moist surface. But this isn't a car that's built for being chucked around bends. It's a car for comfortably running about, I suppose. So maybe that's not what it's designed to do. Maybe I shouldn't judge it too harshly. What's it like if you floor it? Is there any overtaking ability? Yeah, I mean, it's not the most powerful car in the world, I will say that, but it does have enough oomph to get you out of trouble should you need it. The engine sounds like it's doing an awful lot, but you're not getting a tremendous amount of response from it. That's worth bearing in mind if you like your SUVs to offer spirited performance. So how do we summarize the Honda CR-V? Well, I think this car has a lot going for it. It's very, very handsome to look at. It's extremely comfortable to drive. It's also very, very spacious with lots of clever little touches dotted around to make it a desirable car. The price is going to put some people off. There are plenty of rivals out there that offer slightly better value for money. Having said that though, if you've got the cash and you're looking for a vehicle that you can comfortably run about in, then the CR-V is definitely worth putting on your shortlist.